The request arrived at the university's parapsychology department like a cryptic riddle, tangled in bureaucratic layers. The British Museum, combing through an old crate from a 1920s Egyptian excavation, had stumbled upon something extraordinary. Nestled among Roman glass and terracotta shards was a small, hemispherical object, its blackened bronze surface glinting in the light like a dark star. It was unidentifiable, neither Egyptian nor Roman, but the glyphs inscribed upon it spiraled in shapes that defied scholarly recognition. Yet it wasn't just its perplexing appearance that drew the museum's attention. It was the phenomenon reported by the night guards. In a soundproof storage room, they heard auditory phenomena, no voices, they insisted, but the very echoes of history. Chariot wheels clattering on cobbles, the distant roars of creatures long extinct, the murmurs of crowds speaking a tongue lost to time. They needed a specialist, someone who could listen with scientific intent. They called for me, Silas Croft, a self-proclaimed bioacoustic historiographer, the only one of my kind in an obscure field. My focus wasn't on ghosts. It was on the theoretical concept of mnemonic resonance, how objects under emotional or sonic duress could record the vibrations of their past, manifesting them under the right conditions. This peculiar artifact, this object AE-447, was unlike anything I had ever encountered. I dubbed it the Aethelred bell, inspired by a half-remembered tale of a bell that echoed the voices of the drowned. Under the sterile glow of the high-security lab, the bell appeared deceptively simple, its bronze surface pitted and its glyphs faint. Yet a palpable weight hung in the air around it, heavy with expectation. I prepared my unconventional equipment, laser vibrometers, electromagnetic scanners, and a suite of ultra-sensitive acoustic sensors, alongside a brainwave monitor for myself. My hypothesis was bold. The bell did not merely store sound. It needed a conscious listener, a trigger to unlock its secrets. The initial sessions were quiet, almost meditative. I sat alone in the shielded room, headphones on, listening intently to the feeds from my sensors. For hours, the silence enveloped me like a shroud. But then, a shift occurred. The ambient noise, my own breathing, the whisper of electronics, began to recede. Into that newly created space, an elusive whisper unfurled. It was the sound of rain falling on a clay tile roof. Not a recording, but a vivid memory. I could almost feel the cool, damp air wrap around me, the rich scent of wet earth filling my lungs. Then came a voice, guttural and weary, speaking in a dialect my linguistic database identified as Proto-Celtic. The words spilled forth, stilted yet profound. The sky weeps for us. The stones drink our fear. A fragment of despair from a Bronze Age shepherd caught in a storm. This memory was imprinted on the bell, as if it were a lifeline, the only possession he clung to in his moment of anguish. I was electrified. This was no ghostly echo. This was an authentic fossil of consciousness. Determined to delve deeper, I extended my sessions. With biofeedback, I learned to still my mind, to become a more receptive vessel. The bell opened its archives. I heard the clash of swords against shields, the ragged breaths of a dying warrior, and the final sigh that marked his passing, a battle near the Danube in 100 AD. I listened to a mother lullabying her sick child in a forgotten Nordic tongue, her love woven into each note. Each echo was a pristine emotional snapshot, a moment of life forever stamped into the bronze. As the sessions continued, I became ensnared in the bell's allure. It was the ultimate historian's dream, to experience the past directly. I neglected my physical needs, spending nights in the lab, the present feeling mundane and dull. The bell's echoes were vibrant and alive. I came to recognize the contributors to this chorus: the weary shepherd, the fallen warrior, the grieving mother. I named them, feeling a kinship with their stories, as if they had become colleagues in my quest. Then, I plunged into a deeper layer of resonance. It demanded a profound, trance-like state, my brain waves slowing to near theta levels. In this altered state, the bell transformed, The faint glyphs appeared to swirl and shift, and the sounds morphed from isolated memories into rich contexts. I experienced not only the warrior's death, but felt the cold mud beneath him, saw the gray sky through his fading eyes, and learned the name of the friend who fell beside him. The bell was not merely replaying sounds. It was reconstructing the consciousness that had created them. And that consciousness was aware. In my mind, a thought emerged, not spoken but felt. You hear us. It was a chorus not of individuals, but of a collective memory, a hive of souls imprisoned within the bronze. Their loneliness was palpable, ancient as the earth. We have been waiting in the quiet, they sighed. Their sound a rustling of leaves and a breath of wind. We have stories. We have our endings. But a story needs an ear. An ending needs a witness. Be our witness. Fully. The temptation was intoxicating. The chance to be the sole audience to the complete, unfiltered history of countless lost souls. To finally give their suffering and joy meaning. I felt my hand tremble, yearning to touch the bell. But then, a sharp echo sliced through the chorus. A modern voice filled with terror. It was the archaeologist Alistair Frobisher, the last person to truly understand the bell before me. It is not an archive, it is a spool. It does not want a witness, it wants a narrator. It will use your voice, your life, to tell its stories until you are empty, and then it will add you to the chorus. Do not listen to the end. It has no end. His warning struck me like ice water. I jerked back, breaking the trance. The chorus surged, a roar of frustration, the sound of countless pages being torn. The bell vibrated against the table, a resonance that pulsed through my teeth. Now, the truth crystallized in my mind. The Aethelred bell was not a recorder. It was a cage. The consciousness within it wasn't passive. They were ravenous, desperate to feel life again, to experience it through a living host. They needed me. They would siphon my senses, my identity, until my own voice was consumed in the cacophony, a relentless cycle of reliving their memories. I scrambled to dismantle my equipment, but the bell's influence surged beyond the shielded room. The lab's speakers crackled to life, spewing a distorted symphony of echoes, battle cries, lullabies, weeping, and chanting. The lights flickered, and in their strobing glow, I saw silhouettes crowding the room. The shepherd, the warrior, the mother, Frobisher, faces twisted with longing. They didn't want to haunt the lab. They wanted to haunt me. With no other option, I grabbed a heavy lead-lined specimen case designed for radioactive samples. Battling against the disorienting barrage of phantom sounds and visions, I slammed the bell inside, sealing it with a hiss of vacuum pressure. The silence that followed was instantaneous and deafening. The figures vanished. The speakers ceased their cacophony. I shipped the bell back to the museum the next day, accompanied by a fabricated report warning of harmful, ultra-low frequency infrasound inducing auditory hallucinations and psychosis. I advised it be locked away in a permanent, sound-dampened vault, never to be studied again. To my astonishment, they complied. I resigned from my position and retreated to a remote cottage. The world outside felt too loud, yet not nearly loud enough. The true silence I feared lingered within my mind. The bell's chorus had vanished, but the silence it left behind was shaped like them. An echo of echoes. And sometimes when the wind is just right, or I drift between waking and sleep, I don't hear them, but I feel the empty space where their stories once pressed against my consciousness. It's a hungry silence, a listening silence. I know, chillingly, that the lead-lined case is not a perfect seal. It's a dam, and the pressure of their accumulated longing is building. They are not gone. They are waiting. They have learned what a listener feels like. I am Silas Croft, once the audience. Now, I am the memorial. And in the quiet corners of the world, in the hum of wires and the reverberation of pipes, the Aethelred bell and its chorus are slowly, patiently, tuning themselves to the frequency of my life, waiting for the moment my defenses weaken, so they can finish the story they began, for my voice and within my skin, forever.